But I want to start with Mel Kiper and some of his whining. And it ended, this is the kind of ended Mel's whining where he went on this rant about how clueless the NFL has been about the quarterback position. Let's play shot number 5.
Boomer Esiason was not happy when he was a second-round pick.
Tom Brady was not happy.
They dropped. How'd they turn out?
And you know what? My point, nobody's arguing that can happen.
Reese, the NFL has been clueless for 50 years when it comes to evaluating quarterback. Clueless. No idea what they're doing in terms of evaluating quarterback. That's proof. There's proof of that.
How many
times? They say we know exactly what we're talking about with quarterback. They don't. Quarterbacks now, and Reese, you know as well as anybody, college kids now are getting paid. They're professional. They're getting paid. They're commercials. They're out there. You got to deal with that. If you're the NFL, you got to deal with that. Okay? He's saying whatever he's saying behind closed doors. What's he saying? I want to be the guy. I should be this. I should be that. Deion's saying he's the best player in the draft. He's best quarterback. Second best to Travis Hunter. Best quarterback. Who is it? What quarterback out there didn't think they should have been a high first-round pick?
Again, nobody's criticizing what happened. We're saying he has to deal with the reality of the result from it.
Correct.
That's all. Okay. 140 Shedeur Sanders. Everybody wishes him well, as we do.
I want to play one more Mel Kiper deal where he calls this, what happened to Shedeur, disgusting. Let's play shot number 6.
For Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders, all I can say is I think it's disgusting. I don't understand what the heck's going on with this. 5th player on my board. It's never happened before in 47 years where a player that high has dropped this far into the 4th round at quarterback. That's sitting there in round 4 with other quarterbacks being taken who aren't as good as Shedeur, aren't even close, in my opinion, in terms of accuracy, toughness. Arm strength is certainly more than good enough. I don't see round Kirk Cousins went, 4th round Dak Prescott went, worked out pretty good for them. It's just that Shedeur was projected a lot higher than they were. That's why we're having this discussion.
Projected a lot higher by Mel Kiper and a few others that were all participating in this Deion Sanders-inspired lie and manipulation. But Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott that went in the 4th round, those are great analogies for Shedeur. He's got, I'm not sure if he's got Dak Prescott's athleticism, but it's probably right in between Dak and Kirk Cousins in terms of athleticism. And then arm strength is right in between Dak and Kirk Cousins. Those are great analogies. So Shedeur is a 4th, 5th round pick. Time you throw in the baggage and the circus of Shedeur Sanders and how toxic all of these race baiters, all these so many tears guys, all these troublesome people on ESPN. He's not worth the headache. He's a 4th round talent with 1st round headaches. Deion Sanders was a headache, but he had incredible talent. And he played a different position. But what happened to Shedeur is like before he even got into the league, he was Colin Kaepernick and he was Tim Tebow, someone with a traveling circus. And people didn't want to be involved in that. And how ESPN refuses to discuss that aspect of it is mind-blowing. This is the problem with the mainstream media. They always lie. They always avoid the hard truths. This is so obvious what happened to Shedeur. And the worldwide leader in sports, just think about that. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, with no one willing to effectively and appropriately and aggressively stand up to Mel Kiper and tell the truth. And I know Reese Davis did a nice job doing the best that he could. But if you're going to let Mel Kiper on your airwaves to shill for Deion Sanders and Shedeur in this way, they needed someone on the air that was be like, hey, Mel, the NFL, they've been screwing up quarterback drafts for 50 years? Mel, you're the guy that compared Jamarcus Russell to John Elway. Mel, you're the guy that said you would retire if Jimmy Clausen wasn't an NFL star within 8 years. You're the guy that was super high on Achilles Smith. You're the guy that had 4 other quarterbacks ranked ahead of Patrick Mahomes. It seems like everybody, including Mel Kiper, have been screwing up quarterback evaluations forever. But they let Mel make a fool of themselves and all of ESPN for 3 straight days. How? Why? Does Mel Kiper have compromising photos on everybody at ESPN? Not one they don't have an executive? I mean, I'm saying this not out of cancel culture. I'm not saying this out of cancel culture, but a smart, wise executive at ESPN would have pulled Mel Kiper off air this weekend for making a joke of ESPN's draft coverage. Because it started round 1. Cam Ward drafted, and they sat on air talking about Shedeur Sanders. There's more conversation about the black quarterback that went in the 5th round than the black quarterback that went 1st overall. Because ESPN has been lying about Shedeur for 2 years. They were unable, unwilling, refused to pivot off the lies that they told. This has been going on in the media space for years and years and years. And everything, this whole race bait, racial division deal, it's all been coming from the worldwide leader in sports, ESPN. And instead of acknowledging, like, you're completely out of line with sports. Sports bring us together. ESPN is using sports to tear us apart. No one over at ESPN, Jimmy Pitaro, Dave Roberts, I don't know, Burke Magnus, if he's still there, none of these people have the courage to say, hey, enough is enough. We are part of the racial division apparatus in America. This is immoral what ESPN is doing. They're taking something like sports that we've used for decades to bring us together, to advance racial harmony, and now they're using it the exact opposite way. And they have black people and Mel Kiper, who I believe is Jewish, leading the bandwagon of tearing the races apart. No one can say anything? No one can stand up to this? I just want to repeat, because I'm about to play you some Stephen A. Smith clips, but I've told you on this show, the Young Men's Christian Association, the YMCA, in the late 1800s, they organized sports. They wanted a masculine Christianity. And so they organized sports. Organized sports, founded by Christians. The CYO, the Catholic Youth Organization, in the early 1900s, they were the leaders in using sports to bring the races together. There would be no Jackie Robinson without the CYO. I've walked you through this history. To watch people completely tear out the Christian biblical founding in sports mirrors the exact same process that we're going through in terms of trying to remove the biblical founding out of the Constitution. You can see everything that's going on in American culture through the lens of sports. They mirror each other. There are groups trying to tear us apart through sports, through racial division. It's not Christian. And it's not Christians. And I don't care how often Ryan Clark and Stephen A. Smith pretend like they're Christians. Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.